If we imagine a world where there were no clocks, yes, so how many clocks do you have at home? So mostly one in each room people have, and these days everybody is carrying a mobile and you keep seeing the time in the mobile, or people wear wristwatches also. So you see that in this world the clock has so much importance. The 24-hour clock, which shows what time it is so important. And just think about a world in which clocks didn't exist, and also you didn't have the understanding of day and night according to the sun. Here you at least, we also have this so imbibed in us that as the sun sets, then it is evening, and if the sun is up, then it is noon. If it is just rising, then it's morning. But let's say we didn't have any understanding of the day and night according to the sun also, and we didn't have any clocks, then it would be so difficult to figure out what to do when. Yes, and if you look at our condition as a soul, so in this physical world we have so many physical clocks, and then we have this understanding of the day and night according to the setting and rising of the sun. But as a soul, we are living in a world where we don't know, we don't have any sense of the unlimited time. So you see that until Shiv Baba comes, we really don't know what time we are living in, because although every soul is suffering, and that is an indication that it is the night, but still we fail to understand that it is the night. And we are also given these belief systems that Kali Yuga is still going to be going on for 40,000 years, and these are the things which don't enable us to have any understanding of the unlimited time. We don't understand the eternal clock, and Baba comes and Baba draws the clock for us. And we very well know that all the pictures that we have, they were all created on the basis of visions that Baba gave to children in trance, and Baba showed the unlimited clock to children, and according to that these pictures were made. And I remember even I had a vision of this world clock once in one of the meditations, and Baba says that this is a big clock of 5,000 years, and in this clock there are 4 phases, and each quarter is one yug, and then now we are in the final quarter from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. That is the time we are living in, and this cycle has to turn now, and we are at this juncture called the confluence age. And now we have to go from day to night, and it is time to leave our old costumes, leave this old world, and leave everything that is in this old world, the customs, the sanskars, the ways of living, the ways of thinking. Everything is going to change, and we are going to go to a new world. And in that world there are no vices, there are no impure sanskars, there is no impurity of any kind, there is no body consciousness of any kind. And Baba is giving us this understanding of where we are standing in accordance with the unlimited time and unlimited clock. And Baba says that it is night right now, but this night is changing into day, and the day will be so different from the night. And when we understand this unlimited clock, then our actions will be very different from our actions when we have no understanding of the unlimited clock. But there is something called dharana of gyan, and although we have the gyan that where we are sitting in terms of the unlimited time, have we imbibed it, and do we really understand that now the world is changing from the iron age to the golden age, and all the customs and systems are going to change? There'll be no impurity in the new world. And are we preparing ourselves and others for that, or are we still being deceived by our ignorance, and are we still continuing to do the same thing that we did when we didn't know what time it is? So Baba gives a very good example today. Baba says, just like if there is an actor and he's on a stage and there's a clock hanging there, he knows that although he is performing his act, he knows that in 15 minutes time my act will be over and I'll have to go home. And he starts thinking about where is his costume, and where did he put his bag, and where did he put his other things, and where are his shoes, and how he has to take them and go home. And he starts mentally packing up, in spite of the fact that he's still on the stage and is still performing, but he knows that now he has to go home. And Baba says that is the importance of the clock. And now if we understand the unlimited clock, then we will understand that although we are living in this world, this time is not a time for expansion. This is a time for packing up. Yes, it is not the time to go into the expansion, the vistar of the old world. This is a time to pack up from the old world. And Baba tells us something very nicely today, that if you understood what time it is, then there are two things you would do. You would know that I don't have to take rebirth in this old world, so you will change your sanskars. And second thing is, you will not try to give birth to anyone in this old world, because you are now packing up. You are not in the stage where you want to expand your area of activity in this old world. You want to just pack up and be ready to go to the new world. And if you had understanding of the unlimited clock, the way we would behave and conduct ourselves in this old world will be very different. And this is something that Baba is indicating, and every one of us has to ask ourselves whether we really go by the understanding of time, and are we packing up. And the second thing is, are we being merciful, and are we carrying out the task of letting everybody know that Baba is here and it is the time to pack up and burn our sins, because we have so that we have a baggage of 63 births of sins. And can we go with that baggage? We cannot go with that baggage, because the world we have to go to is a pure world. Whether we talk about the soul world or we talk about the new world that's coming, they are pure worlds. And if we want to go there, then it's very important to burn the sins of 63 births, burn the burden of sins of 63 births. And how much of yoga are we doing to burn those sins? And we also have to create the good karma that will enable us to find a position in the new world. So Baba says this is the time to do that. Be merciful and help your brothers, fellow soul brothers, recognize Baba and help them have Baba's Shrimat of burning their sins and creating sanskars of purity. And also take for yourself, take up this task of burning your sins and also helping others. So Baba says, are we doing that at this time, or are we doing something else? Because if we are body conscious, we will keep doing what we were doing. So, if you know what you have always known, you will do what you have always done. So if you know better, you do better. But that knowledge has to be imbibed, and if it is imbibed, it will translate into actions. Just like you see that we had never seen a time like COVID, but and it took a while for us to imbibe that this is a different time. And when we imbibed it, we started acting very differently. Everybody started working from home, and we started sanitizing, and we started maintaining physical distance from even our most loved ones, and we started understanding that we could be carriers of viruses. So it's very important to have that physical distance. And these are the things we did because it seeped into us that this is a different time. And when you know that the time is different, when you know that it is not what it used to be, then you behave differently. And Baba says that when you understand this unlimited clock and you understand what time it is and where we have to go now, you also start behaving differently. You also start having having a lot of concern and regard for Baba's Shrimat, Baba's timetable, Baba's suggestion of lifestyle. You start having regard for that. You start paying attention to yoga to burn your sins, and you start paying attention to creating good karma through doing seva by enabling souls to recognize Baba and take their inheritance from Baba. So these are the things we would start doing. So who amongst you thinks that you have a recognition of the unlimited time and unlimited clock? Because your actions will speak for what you understand and what you don't understand. And this is something. And then today Baba says that it takes a lot of mercy to pull people out of this illusion, because you see that people don't understand the difference between happiness and sorrow. And it is very interesting that everybody says, I want happiness, but they don't understand the difference between a world of happiness and a world of sorrow. They don't recognize the one who gives happiness, and they don't recognize what is happiness and what is sorrow. Why? Because you see that there are many factors to this. One, the most important being, sorrow is camouflaged as happiness and served to us through the media. Yes, so all the Hollywood and Bollywood that you have watched, what have they done? They have glorified the sorrow and camouflaged it as happiness. And if you look at it, the most beautiful music is that of sad songs. And you feel that when you listen to a sad song, you are feeling happy. So you see, these are the illusions that have been created in our minds through this Ravan Rajya, and we are living in a world of illusion, world of Maya, and Maya has tricked us into believing that all sorrow is happiness. And you see that these days people take so much pride in telling each other that we are very busy, or we are very stressed, and everybody thinks that being stressed is being functional, and being stressed is being important, being stressed is being somebody who matters. And if you're not stressed, then you're good for nothing. So, all of these lack of happiness is camouflaged as happiness. And you see that these days, people who are suffering in relationships are glorified as people who are, people who are. So, you watch movies and you watch serials and this and that, and all of those people you see as protagonists, they are suffering in relationships, and you see that the hero is the one who suffers, and you take suffering to be very heroic. And people are very people think that suffering and earning people's sympathy, that you are suffering and you're a good person and that's why you're suffering, is something good to do. So you see, this is a world where all our ideas of happiness and sorrow have been distorted. And then you see aided happiness. So happiness which is influenced by something that we externally eat or drink, or alcohol or whatever. These things have also, you party and be happy, you drink and be happy, you socialize and be happy. So everybody is saying that these things are good, and these days you get happiness on prescription in the terms. So the doctor also prescribes you happiness pills which raise your dopamine, and then you think that it's all right to take these support in being happy. So all these things which are actually going to make you very sorrowful tomorrow, they are camouflaged as something that is making you happy. And in this world, really having the understanding of happiness and sorrow is very difficult until and unless we listen from Baba. And I would like to share some other things. There is this big culture of blame, and people are blaming all the time that I would have been the happiest but for this person, but for this institution, but for this community, but for these group of people, or but for my financial situation. And sometimes you go to the extent that because my stars are not favoring me, that's why I'm not happy. Otherwise, if somebody just set right the stars, I would be very happy. So we are blaming every time, maybe family members, maybe something that we desired and we didn't get, or there's some community, there is some member of the society, somebody in the country, the government, or anybody, or the stars, or your luck, your destiny, your parents. You keep blaming anybody and everybody on the planet, and you keep saying that but for this person or this institution, I would have been very happy. And there was this person, and I was talking to him, and he said that, so I remember he told me, my boss is a very difficult person, and he kept describing his boss for 15 minutes. And then I told him, you undertake the course. And then he said, is it so? If I undertake the course, will my boss change? So I said, no, your boss won't change. He said, then it's no good, because you see, there's no problem in my life only. It's the boss that's the problem. And if he gets corrected, then everything will be sorted and I will be happy. I am not a bad person. You don't think that I am sorrowful. I'm a very happy person. You look at me 24 hours a day and I'm very happy. Only the 10 hours I stay at office, I am unhappy. So I told him, how many hours do you sleep? So he said 8 hours. So I said, 8 hours you sleep, 10 hours you are unhappy, and then 4 hours you are you are doing necessary work, and then what makes you think you are a happy person? So we are always blaming that that person is responsible for my unhappiness, and you say that I'm unhappy for 10 hours of the day because of this person, and otherwise I'm a very happy person. But the thing is, what we don't recognize is we are unhappy because of our sanskars, and we don't recognize this unhappiness. And you see, happiness is contentment. A happy soul would be contented. A happy soul would do everything in happiness. But if you ask people these days, there is not a single person you would find who is doing everything in happiness. People are doing everything for happiness, and then they don't even recognize the amount of sorrow we are soaked in. And this is very important, because Baba says, until and unless, you see, I think that when people are suffering physically also, let's say there's a disease or a discomfort, then the biggest challenge in overcoming the disease is that first thing, your disease gets diagnosed, and second thing is you recognize and realize that I have a disease and I want to be treated. Because I know of many people, and there was this one particular fellow, and he was a colleague in my office, and he had this this problem with the liver because he used to drink. And he got diagnosed also that there is a liver issue, and the doctors said that you have to stay away from drinking. But although the doctors and the reports are saying that you're ill, he had zero realization that he was ill, and he would continue having the same lifestyle. And his wife would come to the office, and she would keep pleading to everybody that please make him understand that he's not well, he will die, and he has to take care of his body, and he has to stop drinking. And however many people counseled him, he would still go and drink, because he had zero recognition of how ill his body was. Although the reports are saying it, he's looking at the levels, but it did not translate into an understanding, and he eventually died of liver failure. And this is something that I'm sharing with you, because sometimes Baba is telling us every day that you see, you have impure sanskars and you have burden of sin, and every day we are listening to the Murli, and we also understand technically, is just like when you see a report, that yes, my levels are up and down. You also technically recognize that okay, I am in my 84th birth and there is a burden of sins, and yes, I am not spiritually very powerful, because you recognize, yeah, I get angry and I get frustrated and I have stress and all of that, or I'm not able to do what I want to do according to Baba's Srimad. But still, that recognition is not changing into deep realization. And then you don't put in the effort to change it. And sometimes, this lack of deep realization of how deeply we are in this bog or this quagmire of sorrow, this has to be there, so that we make the effort to allow Baba to pull us out, because Baba has come to pull us out. But Baba says, you have to hold my hand, and my hand is Srimad. If you don't hold my hand of Srimad, if you don't do as I say, how will I pull you out? So it is very important to understand that I am in sorrow and I have the sanskars that are making me sorrowful, and those sanskars have to be corrected, and I have to make effort to pull myself out of sorrow. And you see that it takes a lot of mercy to make somebody or else also realize and recognize that they are in sorrow and they need to make the effort to go to the world of happiness. They need to recognize Baba and give him their hand. And I will tell you one incident. There was this minister who had come to Madhuban, and he was sharing on the stage, and you know what he said? He said that I have been a minister in various capacities since many years, and these Brahma Kumari sisters, they have always visited my office, and year after year, you know, maybe it's on Rakhi or it's on some other day to invite me for something, they have always paid a visit to me, and they always try to tell me that, you know, Shiv Baba has come and I must take Gyan and these things. And he said that, but I did not recognize, because I was so full of ego, I did not recognize that these sisters are not coming for themselves, they are coming to give me God's message. And he said, out of that ego, I would also make them wait for hours. So, you know, for 2 hours, 3 hours, I will make these sisters wait. And then slowly, gradually, there was this time when I recognized that no, this is something else, and I took the course. And now I know that God has come, the most merciful one has come, and it is his mercy that he has come for us, and he is doing this, you know, taking this responsibility of bringing us out of this bog or quagmire of sorrow and taking us to a world of happiness. And now I have so much gratitude, and I'm literally ashamed of myself of behaving like that in the former years. But the most beautiful thing is these sisters never lost patience. And you see that when you go to a soul and you tell them to take the course, or you know, you tell them to come visit the center, or you give them an invitation to go to Madhuban, they don't realize that they are in sorrow, or they need God, or God has come. And sometimes, you know, they will behave very badly, and they will not behave in a manner which will be encouraging for you to approach them again. Some will block your number, some will tell you that I don't know what you've fallen into, and this is a trap, and you are a fool, and I am not a fool, and I will not fall into this trap, and this and that. But Baba says it takes a lot of mercy and genuine mercy, you know, to keep continuing making that effort. And sometimes, you know, the biggest act of mercy is just holding that compassion in your heart and taking small steps sometimes to again approach the soul. Not desperate steps, but you know, having that good wishes and compassion in your heart for every soul, and taking the steps to approach them again and again, time and again, you know, not every day, but at least time and again, so that they also, you know, their heart softens and they get Baba's introduction. And Baba says that you have to be so merciful. If you're not merciful, if you're full of ego, then you know, ego will get hurt in a second, and then you will stop trying to help others. And the biggest help is bringing them to recognize Baba, bringing them to appreciate the Murli. So you know, what is our biggest duty? encouraging somebody, approaching somebody until they undertake the course and start listening to the Murli. If they start doing that, then they will make their choices eventually. But encouraging them until then is our foremost duty. And we will be able to do this duty only if we are very merciful. And you have to ask yourself, how many souls have you been able to, help by giving them Baba's introduction and making them, encouraging them to take their inheritance from Baba, moving from the world of sorrow to happiness. So how many souls in this journey, maybe you have had a journey of 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, but how many souls have you had, have you helped to recognize Baba? At least, you have encouraged them to undertake the online course or something. Have you done that? And why not? Why don't you make consistent effort? Because lack of mercy, that when the ego gets hurt, when people are not listening and they are not having gratitude for your message, then what you do is you stop sending the messages. But Baba says this world is full of souls who don't recognize the happiness giver, and they don't recognize the difference between happiness and sorrow. And when somebody is blind, you have to hold their hand and take them across. And even if they keep saying, no, that in the way is that way, this way, you know that they can't see, so you have to help them. So it requires great mercy to do that. And Baba says you must be merciful and do this for every soul. And Baba also warns us against body consciousness, because when you remember that I am a soul, when you remember where I am in this journey, when you remember the unlimited time cycle, then you start understanding the importance of practicing purity or doing yoga or doing seva. But as soon as body consciousness takes over, yes, do you recognize that when you listen to the Murli, when you attend the Manthan class, your third eye is open, and at that time you have so much clarity of what this time is and what needs to be done, what is my priority, what is not important. But then what happens during the day, your body, mind and wealth is not directed in that direction. Why? Because body consciousness takes over. And when body consciousness takes over, then whatever Ravan has taught, that just keep acting under the influence of lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, and that is the pull you will feel. And when Ravan pulls you that way and you start doing that, you get the emotional satisfaction that Ravan is giving you. And spiritual depletion is something that you don't understand. So people feel that I got married and I have children and I'm settled. Yes, although they are heading for a divorce, but still you feel so settled. So all this is Ravan's illusion, and an illusion can be very strong. And although Baba shows us the reality, the illusion will keep attracting. That's why Baba says, make effort to be soul conscious. Always keep moving your intellect in the direction of churning Gyan. And when you keep rotating in your intellect, who am I, who do I belong to, what time is it, then you will stay on track. And if you stop that, then Ravan will start distracting you, and all your efforts will start being directed towards the upkeep of Ravan Rajya. And then you will start acting under the influence of vices.